The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
We've all at some stage in our life looked up at the night skies and gasped with wonder at the stars shining out of the darkness. And I'm sure we've all looked up at our moon with its unique orbit, strange lights and bucket loads of conspiracy theories and wondered just what the hell is going on up there. I certainly have, and so have the team.
What is it? It's always an enigma, is the moon. Doesn't seem right, seems too big and too close to not actually draw us in, or we draw that in with the supposed forces that we have. We only ever see one side of it. Why? Why is it not orbiting like every other normal planet, every other normal moon that goes around other planets that spin? Why is ours just stuck? It's weird. It is a weird thing.
I look at the moon sometimes and to me there are anomalies. Sometimes it's not where it should be in the sky. It's hard to tell when you're looking at it from the ground, and I have looked at it through the telescope. But the more I hear about it, I'm hearing now about it having been dragged into place.
Why do we spend billions of pounds every year to go to a dead planet with no resources whatsoever? There's nothing on there we need. We can't live on there, yet we spend billions and billions of pounds. What's up there? Why are we spending this money?
I think it's the Native Americans that talk about the time before the moon, so the moon hasn't always been there.
I don't believe the moon is what we are told it is. I don't know if it's made of rock. I don't think it's a natural satellite. What I can't understand, so the moon is on a 28-day cycle, and it's supposed, obviously, it rotates right round. Obviously, it takes 4 weeks. So why is it one day it'll be there, the next day it'll be over there? Surely it should have 28 points of rotation. Why sometimes does it look tiny, and the next day it's like it's stood in your back garden?
How do you get supermoons? It looks like it's like at the end of your garden, and then the next time you look it looks near enough like a star because it's so far away. To me, there's something nagging at the back of my mind about it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. There's some inconsistencies, but I'm still not quite sure where I'm heading with that thought, really.
There is the belief that the moon is either hollow or that it's a kind of docking ship for alien nations. I think the Americans said they were going to launch the missile as a show of strength, but I think it's more than that. I don't actually believe that the moon is the moon. I think sometimes it's projected onto us, a whole lot going on behind that we don't know about. Were they stopping an alien race taking over the Earth, you know? Were they showing a show of strength in that way rather than to the Russians? It's really hard because we're dealing with a government body that won't share information, you know?
Now my take on this is, from what I've heard, is that they were trying to show their superiority to the rest of the world, that they could actually detonate a bomb on the moon.
The problem with the moon is we only see one side of it, and there's the dark side of the moon. And there's been speculation for a long time that perhaps on that dark side there's alien bases, even speculation that we've got bases up there as well. So if it's come to light that what's on that other side is hostile, and we've decided to strike first, as we do as being a barbaric human race, That's the only kind of reason I can think why they do that. They've been blowing nuclear weapons up on this planet for decades, so I don't understand why they do it off planet. You know, they've already sort of messed with our environment by doing that. I'm not sure what purpose they get, unless of course they were just attacking something.
I can't understand the reasoning to that unless there is obviously something on there that they don't want people knowing about and they want to get rid of it sharpish kind of thing.
Is there a far side of the moon? Is it just a clock face? Don't know, do we? How do we know? We haven't been there. They say they've been there, but I don't believe we've been there. There's no imagery, there's no proof that we've been on the other side of the moon. It's the closest thing to us. And we have all this technology, we have all this advanced technology. It would be the most photographed, the most visited, the most best thing we'd ever know about any other rock or anything orbiting this planet. You would think that was number one on the list, but no, we send an orbiter to Mars. So why would you send something to Mars when you don't even know anything about this thing here? What's going on? Why aren't we there?
Man walks on the moon. Man walks on the moon.
We all know about the early moon landing, yet there's supposedly been 12 other people walked on the Earth, on the moon, sorry. Why do we not hear about those 12? Why are they not all over the internet or writing books? Who are these people that have supposedly walked on the moon after Armstrong? When you look at the early footage, honestly, it could have been done in a studio. There's nothing on that tells me that they are in space. There's no stars in the sky. There's no space debris. We know that there are thousands and thousands of tons of space debris up there. Nothing on that. The flags moving. The astronauts' boots are completely different to the things that we found. You know, the indentations. There's so much of it. Neil Armstrong himself said that when they landed at the moon, there were several UFOs outside of a crater that were sat watching them. But as a researcher, I can't pin that down. So it has come from somewhere, it's been stated, but they don't want us to know it, obviously. Why were they watching us? What is it that interests them about us human beings?
With Neil Armstrong saying they were maybe warned off the moon, it seems a bit strange because I think they went back another 2 or 3 times after that. It could just be to add to the legend of aliens, whatever, as another cover for the, military-industrial complex.
Why would he come out with a statement like that? It gets you thinking, doesn't it?
This is where I have a conflict, because I don't 100% believe that we've been to the moon. Certainly not when we were supposed to have gone. Because if you think about the time, the Cold War was, hotting up, and Russia was in the race to get to the moon first. The Americans don't like to be beaten. So did they create the hoax, the illusion that they got there first, just to put the nose out of the Russians?
Did we go to the moon? Now, there's a thing called the firmament that's up there. According to all these flat earth theorists, we live under a dome.
I don't think we can get out of our own atmosphere. I think it was all fake. It's all in my opinion. I have no facts on this, I just read things and it just doesn't add up. After all these years and all this technology we got, we're not even on the moon. We're not planted on it, we've not got anything like satellites on there or something you'd expect, a base. I'd imagine something so close that we can get to with our rate of advancement in technology at the moment. We'd be on we'd be on the moon, we'd be there, we'd be doing something on it and we'd be researching it. How long's that been there? What is it? What's in the core of this thing? Why isn't it spinning? You'd know all this, but we're not even on it.
I watched a documentary where the scientists were saying that they didn't have the technology in the suits to get them through the Van Allen belt. The radiation would have cooked them. And then the flag, that's up, standing straight, and there's no wind up there. But I think two of the biggest ones, they've got the lunar module. Where was that? How were they hiding that? Because you look at the capsule that landed, and you look at the vehicle, they're more or less the same size. So where was that hiding? And then when it lifted off, who was controlling the camera? Because it followed it. You know, I think they forgot someone.
I can't really say concretely 100% we've been to the moon or we've not been to the moon. We only go off what NASA comes out with. Now, I believe a few years ago, a NASA employee basically come out with a statement saying we couldn't get to the moon because of the Van Allen belt.
I personally would lean more to the kind of idea that they didn't go to the moon, just because they say that they have lost the means to build those kind of craft again. They don't have any of the technical data or anything like that. And also, just things like the Van Allen belt is supposed to be sort of 2,000 miles of, you know, ultra high radiation, and they need like a lead-lined rocket just to get through that safely. Otherwise, they'd all obviously be, you know, getting cancers or whatever else.
But I don't think we've gone there in a rocket or a ship because of the Van Allen belt. It's anything between 25 miles and 450 miles thick. And I know when they said they do the radiation testing, the astronauts, even when they've had their eyes shut and they do the they've got flashes of light in between the eye and the eyelid, and that's only for a few seconds. If it takes them 2.5 minutes to go through the shortest part of the belt, surely they're just going to fry inside out. And they've lost all the data and technology to go through it again.
Now, even some scientists have come out and said you'd need a suit like 13 meters thick, you know, to get through the Van Allen belt, because there's that much radiation in it. You wouldn't last you'd last a couple of seconds and you're dead. So how a spaceship travels through the Van Allen belt, I don't know. There's a lot you can look at you can Google it and stuff, and have we been? Who really knows?
What if the moon as itself is a massive charging station, a battery, a service station like Keswick, where you know, you got to go across galaxies. At some point, you've got to stop and refuel. Why does the moon affect the magnetic pull of the Earth? NASA can explain every other moon out there, but it can't explain ours. And there are civilizations that say that they were around when that moon first appeared.
Could it be a Death Star in waiting? All metal. You know, we see one side of it, the other side, is it armoured? It could be some kind of defence system.
Is it real? Is the moon actually real? Is it a hologram? You know, there's imagery all over YouTube. There's people filming clouds going behind the moon. There's planes allegedly been seen behind the moon. How can you be behind the moon if you're so far away? Is it not? Is it a hologram? Is it a picture? I don't know. I don't believe we've actually been there. I don't believe that if they've fired something at the moon and they've heard a ringing noise, and then all of a sudden, is there a structure there, or is it a hologram, or what? I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't believe for 1 minute it's real. I don't think it's actually a rock that's been formed and it floats around in our atmosphere and it's tied to us. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I do believe it's been made, or it is a picture, or no idea, to be honest.
Going back to NASA, for instance, when they fired a missile at the moon, for what reason did they fire a missile at the moon? Was he trying to blow something up? Or was he trying to get a reaction of how the moon would sound being hit with a bomb? Is it a solid mass? Which I don't think it is, because a solid mass would not resonate, especially for 3 days. It rang like a bell.
I think as well the fact that the Soviets were sort of beating them at everything, like the first dog, first probe, first man, etc. First orbit around the Earth and whatnot. And a lot of the American things, to start with the rockets, they couldn't even get a lot of them off the ground. And then all of a sudden they did this kind of mission where they're supposed to have gone 250,000 miles. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense for them to make that leap ahead of the Soviets. I just don't think they could do it, to be honest.
What are the chances of a lottery ticket of that exact size, of the way the eclipse, it's so many millions of miles away, yet it just a perfect size when they cross over? Doesn't stack up, doesn't make sense, but no one questions it because we're brainwashed with this is it, this is the planet, that's where the sun is, this is what we do, we all revolve around it, it's so big, and when that moon goes in, it's just that perfect size as it goes past. No one questions it. Why?
Yeah, it's strange how it fits perfectly from our perspective with the sun, even though the sun's 93 million miles away and it's however many times bigger. They do seem to sync up perfectly. It's very strange. Maybe it was another sun at one point, I don't know. It does have an eerie quality about it though, definitely.
It's a weird thing. It's something that we're obviously brainwashed with from an early age. We don't know any different, but as you get older you start to question, you start to think about why is that? Why aren't we on the moon? Why is that perfect shape there when the eclipse? It's something that cannot be explained. Did we go to the moon? Is it just a story? I don't believe he actually went to the moon. If we went to the moon, let's just say we did go to the moon, we were let in there because we've never been able to do it again. I don't believe we can get out of our own atmosphere. Were they at that time being shown, this is what you can have. If you are a good race and you fall into line like we want you to fall into line, this is what you can have. Take them to the moon. Here's your mates here in crater number 1, crater number 2 over here, they're not your mates, so don't mess with them. So basically, send them back. We don't play ball, you're not going again. And that looks like what has happened. We've never been back. They say they've been back, but not really, have we? There's not enough evidence to prove that we've been back. Like I say, it would be the most photographed, most filmed, probably event that we would ever know, because it's so close. It'd be like a day trip out for now, wouldn't it? I do believe the alien races are here. They're already around us. They're on the planet. Whether that's an extra space that they needed because there's not enough room on Earth, or they wanted a place that they can go away from us and make sure that they are safe, because firing a nuclear weapon at it didn't work, you know. So I don't know on that front, because I do feel that the alien races that I have researched, I have looked into, I have read about, they're much more advanced than need to just put a base there to keep an eye on us. They're already here, they're keeping an eye on us daily.
Well, if you're going to have a base, you're certainly in a good position to have it on the side of the moon that we don't see, because we only ever see that one side, and it's like two sides to a coin. So it doesn't rotate, doesn't move, perfect place to hide, perfect place to set up structures. And if you are coming from millions of miles away, like we do with military troops, we have bases all over the place to make it easier to strike if necessary, or to keep surveillance and keep an eye on people. What better way? You're coming across the galaxy, you need somewhere to park up, and what better place? We can't see that side of the moon, it's a perfect place to hide.
Well, that's one side that we don't get to see. There's a lot of speculation regarding the Chinese. They reckon that they've been to the dark side of the moon, and they possibly could have a base there. I mean, you just never know. America could have a base there if they have got the technology to get to the moon. It could be, or it could be an alien base. The whole moon could be an alien base.
Why does it need to be there? I do believe more of what we touched on before. It's there for an event. It's there to, wow, look at that. It's for us to look in awe of what's been created. You know, sometimes it's even transparent that, you know, when you look up, it's just a blue and you can see through it. You know, I do believe it's just for our benefit to just think, wow, look at that.
And why is it we've not been back since that time? So maybe there is alien life on the dark side of the moon, the part of the moon that we don't see.
We probably will never know the truth.
Lunar conspiracies are too numerous to cover in one short episode, and it's a subject we're sure to return to. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and if you want to see more, please be sure to tell us in the comments below.